Hello, my good friends. I am back in voiceover, and I am here to talk about Counting the Cost, Jill Duggar's memoir. You guys know I love memoirs. Let's talk about it. Okay, so we all know Jill Duggar is a member of the Duggar family. I guess her name's Jill Dillard now. And she wrote a memoir about growing up in the Institute for Basic Life Principles and what it was like filming Counting On and 19 Kids and Counting. I will go ahead and say, yes, I have seen the show. I don't know if I would ever really call myself a fan of the Duggars, although I will say I was not a hate watcher. It was more like a morbid fascination. Like, why do these people keep having babies? Just why? And I can never really figure it out. So when we go into Jones's memoir, I'm going to go ahead and say the writing is not that great. We look at people like Joan Didion, who can write amazing essays and memoirs. Jill is no Joan Didion. And if you've seen the documentary, the little docu-series, Shiny Happy People, you're probably not going to learn that much more about Jill's life and growing up in the IBLP, other than she gives us exact numbers of the money that her father owed her, and she goes a little deeper into the births of her 3 kids. I was not watching 19 Kids and Counting at that point when she had children. I just stopped. I would catch it every now and then, but when I graduated high school in 2011, I just kind of stopped watching TV and got really into movies. So, Jill talks about not being allowed to dance when they were listening to music. They would call it jumping for joy. They could jump up and down, but they couldn't start dancing, and Michelle would be in there in the room playing the music, and they couldn't listen to drum beats. And that's one of the more bizarre things about the Baptist church. My mother grew up Baptist, not being able to dance. She grew up Southern Baptist Convention. There's Missionary Baptists. Basically, Baptists believe in the age of accountability, which means you're not really accountable for the actions that you make. Before you're 7 or 8, they don't baptize infants, and they only baptize believers when they're able to say, yes, I believe in God. So that's one of the fundamental tenets of the Baptist church is believers' baptism. That's why they're called Baptists. Jill grew up Baptist, independent fundamentalist Baptist. They take the Bible literally. They don't believe in evolution, and they're kind of, I think, what most people would call nut jobs or crazy Christians. Even nowadays, Jill is really, really fundamentalist. She's not an LGBT ally, and I think this book really shows that, people aren't just good or bad. Ideas and belief systems, yeah, we can categorize them in a binary way and say, Christian fundamentalism, it's bad. But that doesn't mean a person who practices it is bad. And she doesn't go much into the abuse, which was disappointing. Honestly, I did kind of want to know what happened, but at the end of the day, Jill's abuse is nobody's business except hers. What Josh did because he was in the public eye and fueling us for so long, yeah, that's our business because he lied to us. But as far as what happened to Jill and what she was feeling when her brother abused her, no one needs to know about that. And what this book kind of just really reinforced to me is that juvenile records need to stay sealed. I am a former juvenile delinquent. I am an inner city teacher. Obviously, Josh has not changed, but Josh was not the only person affected by his actions as a child. Juvenile records need to stay sealed. Josh got caught for what he was doing as a grown-up. That's good enough. So moving on. Another thing that struck me about Jill's memoir was she talks about her traumatic births. She has 2 kids, both born via C-section, and, currently she has 3 kids, but she only talks about the first 2 births in depth. Her second child, she had a uterine rupture and had to go to an emergency C-section. And she talks about how devastated she was when the doctor told her she might not be able to have more children. And she said it felt like the world was crumbling down. She's like, this was my purpose. But I mean, I do have kids. I have 2 kids, and I should be happy with that, but I'm not. And I personally was very thankful that she acknowledged that, hey, some people would give anything to have kids, and I have 2. But the way she explained it was, I grew up in this system. My whole life, I've been told my purpose was to have as many kids as I can, and here I am with just 2. I'm a failure. So she gives us her perspective on her thinking process, which I was really happy to see. She talks about her relationship with her father. We all know Jim Bob is a narcissist and a megalomaniac. That was talked about in detail in her book, but the book was really fascinating. But at the same time, if you've seen the documentary Shiny Happy People, you're really not going to learn that much, and the writing is just very average. She talks about Derek's Twitter and the trouble he was getting into, and she talks about them going to couples therapy to want to reconnect with their parents, and the therapist is like, no, you need to develop boundaries and you need to stay back. One thing I was hoping she would talk about but didn't was Anna Duggar. There's not much about Anna in here. So if you've seen the documentary Shiny Happy People, you're really not going to learn that much other than about Jill's traumatic births, and that's basically it. It does end kind of on a happy note, but the book was a little bit of a disappointment to me because I wanted to learn more, and I really didn't. At the same time, it was entertaining, the same way that the Duggars are always fascinating, and I was really happy to buy this book. It was expensive on Kindle. I read it digitally, and it was like $16. But I was happy to support Jill financially, and I enjoyed the book. I gave it 3 stars just because it was nothing new, but it was fascinating the way the Duggars are always fascinating. So that's my review of Jill Duggar's book, Counting the Costs. See you guys later. Keep reading, keep writing, keep loving words, and I'll see you next time. Bye.